Welcome back everybody, I hope you're all excellent. In today's video, I want to show you how I integrate outboard gear with my Axe FX3. Before we do that, I'm playing my 1977 Fender Strat with Sir Michael Landau pickups, plugged straight into the Axe FX3. I have a JFET compressor, the Brit JM45 amp model, and a cab IR that I made of my Mesa 2x12. This is what it sounds like. Alrighty, that's what's going on there. What I want to do is I want to connect my Yamaha SPX90, which is sitting in that rack over there. So I've run some long cables over to it. I've gone out of output 4 of my Axe FX3. We've got 4 outputs on there. I just figured I'd use 4 because it's the biggest one. And then I've come back in stereo from my SPX90 back to input 4 on my Axe FX3. So I want to check that that's stereo before I do anything else. I can go to Tools and I can go to Setup and I can come down here and click on Audio, and you can see there that input 4 is set to stereo. Very nice. I really cannot overstate that enough. Make sure you go in and check your levels, because there's been several times where I've changed this. Maybe I'm running a pedal that's mono, and then I've gone to, hook up the SPX90 and I've been like, why doesn't it sound right? Because I'm running it in mono. So for this example, stereo, we can choose between left only, right only, a sum of both inputs, or stereo. I want stereo over here. So let's do this next. I need to actually feed some signal to the SPX90. What I'm going to do is go from the cabinet output and come up here in parallel. I'll select output 4. That is going to send this processed guitar signal to the SPX90. And then I have to come back in via input number 4, and I'll hook that up over here, and you'll immediately be able to hear the factory symphonic preset on there, which is basically the reason I bought that SPX90. It sounds like this. Oh, that's so 80s and so glorious. I really like it. The other thing that I've done as well is I have cranked up the front panel control for output number 4. That's another thing that sometimes, for whatever reason, that'll get turned down. I'll be like, man, why is the signal so weak going into my Yamaha? Got to crank up that output. For that particular example, if you were using, say, output 2 and you had it set for line level, you might find that you actually have to turn that down quite a bit, or you risk overloading other pedals. But outputs 3 and 4 on the Axe FX3 are set for unity gain when they're cranked all the way up. So that's why I've used them there. Okay, so that's a pretty simple example. What I've got is my dry signal here on row 5 and my wet signal here on row 4. Another note as well, the Yamaha is set to 100% mix, or kill dry mode as we might like to call it. That's going to avoid any phasing issues because it's a digital processor. There is inevitable latency coming from it. So if my dry signal went through the Yamaha, got converted and reconverted, there will be a very slight time delay with my dry signal. I don't want that. I've set it to 100% wet, and the way I'm going to get around the mix is to add a mixer block here. So we've got row 4, that's the Yamaha wet signal, and row 5 is my main guitar signal. So if I turn this down here, it's going to be dry. And I can control the relative wetness right there. What's really cool about this mixer block is I can actually set this up to a modifier. If I wanted to use a, like an expression pedal to blend in row 4, I could do that. Alternatively, if I wanted to do something kind of wild, like maybe use the envelope follower on here, I'll set it with a slightly faster attack and release. Then I've now basically added expression control to my Yamaha. You can't do that with the SPX90, but you can by blending it in this way. So I've got an envelope controlled chorus on there. You can just go absolutely wild with this. Like, let's say we set it up for the pitch follower, so that as I play higher on the neck, the mix of the chorus is going to increase. The magic magic of the XFX3 modifiers right there, you know, transforming a, like, how old is that unit? 35 years or something like that. That's pretty fantastic stuff. I'm not going to leave that on there. I'm just going to mix it in old school though. Somewhere around like 40% is pretty good. Okay, I've also got my PolyFX digit connected as well. I'm going from output 2 of the XFX3 to the digit. I'm coming back to input number 2. In this case, I have gone in and actually set the output 2 knob to kind of the sweet spot where it's not overloading the input of the digit, but I am getting a nice strong signal. So let's do this in parallel. I'll go out of output 2. Let's, why did I click that? I want to click this. There we go. And then we'll come back through input number 2. I'm going to connect that here. So this is on row 6. Now I have a single stereo reverb impulse response on the digit of a Lexicon 480L reverb, which sounds really, really nice. I'm just going to blend that in again around, let's go 30%. Now I've got my digit and I can use it as an IR loader for reverb IRs. That sounds really, really nice. There's also some Bricasti reverb IRs in here. So if you're like a John Mayer fan and you know he uses the Bricasti, you could get a digit, which is like 10% of the price. Where are they? They're somewhere here. So let's go with, I really like this one, the large hall in there. So this is a Bricasti reverb IR with the Yamaha symphonic chorus. Pretty rad. Wonderful stuff. Let's try that with something filthy as well. I think I have the USA lead mid gain. I do, yes. So this is going to be some high gain from the XFX3 with the symphonic chorus, and I'll just blend this Bricasti reverb thing in a little bit lower, and we'll bring the symphonic up, and this is going to I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Now, the question is like, can't the XFX3 already do all this kind of stuff with the built-in effects? And the answer is yes. I could delete these blocks here. Let me bring my keyboard over so I can do that easier. And I basically was able to get pretty close to that symphonic sound using a flanger block. I've got it saved in my blocks library, so let's add that in. Then I've got it in here as SPX90 symphonic. If I kind of tweak the mix, that is going to be the big factor there. Let's, I don't know, we'll just kind of bring the level down on that one. Let's hear this. That's pretty rad. It's getting me that vibe. I really like that. And there's some amazing sounding reverbs in the XFX3. For example, I believe it's the South Church reverb, which is kind of inspired by a Bricasti style sound. Sounds amazing, right? The digit sounds amazing with its reverb IRs, and the built-in reverbs in the XFX3 sound stunning as well. You can go so much further than a unit like the SPX90 though with the flanger block based on all the deep editing parameters you've got in there. But you know, sometimes this funky old gear is just nice to plug in, dial up like a factory preset that was used on dozens of recordings, and I just kind of enjoy it. And that's the great thing about the Axe FX3. You can have your cake and eat it. If you want to use the built-in effects and emulate these classic effects, you can do it. If you just want to use the multiple ins and outs and connect all your favorite pieces of gear and maybe breathe some life back into your old rack gear or your pedals that you may not have used for a while, you can do that as well. I think both approaches are totally valid, and one is not better than the other. Like, whatever gets you cooking with the tones, whatever gets you inspired, whatever makes you want to play the guitar and make music, that's kind of all that matters. Personally, I mostly spend all my time in the box on the Axe FX3, but every now and then you pull out a pedal or a rack unit or something like that. Limitations can actually inspire you. So yeah, that's how I use external gear with the Axe FX3. I do get that question a lot, like how do you do it? And then also, why do you do it if you already have this stuff in there? But hopefully this video answers both of those questions. If you do have any further questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to support the channel, you can find me on Patreon, or you can buy some of my music. Both sources are linked in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. Stay excellent. I'll see you next time.